The grand hall of the Galactic Assembly floated in the endless dark of space. Its crystal walls shimmered with light from 1,000 stars, and inside, the galaxy's most powerful leaders gathered. They wore gold-plated armor, shimmering robes, or strange masks. Some had skin like molten metal, others glowed faintly with inner fire. The air buzzed with pride and arrogance. They had come to talk about power. At the center of the vast chamber, the Supreme Speaker, a tall being with 6 thin arms and a voice like rolling thunder, addressed the council. "We are the strongest forces in the known galaxy. Our fleets patrol the stars, our weapons break moons." And yet, a smile spread across his alien face. He looked toward a side table at the far end of the hall. "One small world among us still lags behind. The humans." The hall erupted with laughter. Some of the reptilian delegates hissed with amusement. The insectoid ambassadors clicked their mandibles in mock applause. A fish-like alien from the deep ocean world of Marin leaned forward and said loudly, "I saw a human warship once. It was so slow, I thought it was drifting without engines." Another alien, a hulking creature with bone plates for skin, added, "Their weapons are like children's toys. They use projectiles. The same thing we used, 1,000 years ago." The laughter grew. Holographic screens lit up, showing clips of human ships, blocky, dull, and without the elegant design of alien vessels. They called humans primitive, weak, harmless. It had been this way for decades. Humans had joined the assembly as observers only. No voting power, no influence. They were too far behind in technology. Their starships were barely faster than light. Their weapons were outdated. Their fleet was small. The mockery had become a tradition at every assembly meeting. But that night, something changed. While the laughter still echoed through the hall, a quiet vibration passed through the floor. The huge holographic globe at the center of the room flickered. The Supreme Speaker paused, frowning. A small, red icon appeared on the display, pulsing slowly. It was an alert. The Assembly's information officer, a thin, silver-skinned alien named Varen, tilted his head as if listening to an invisible voice. His expression shifted from confusion to disbelief. "This cannot be correct," he muttered. Supreme Speaker turned sharply. "Report." Varen hesitated. Then, in a voice that cut through the laughter, he said, "We have detected a signal from inside the Aether." The hall fell silent. Every alien in the room knew that name. The Aether was not normal space. It was an unstable realm, a strange layer of reality between dimensions, filled with violent energy storms and shifting gravity. Ships that tried to enter the Aether were torn apart. For centuries, the Assembly had forbidden any travel there. It was too dangerous. Entire fleets had vanished, never to return. The Supreme Speaker's voice was low. "Who was reckless enough to be inside the Aether?" Varen swallowed. "The signal comes from Earth." The silence deepened. Dozens of alien eyes, glowing and unblinking, turned toward the human small section at the far corner of the hall. Only 2 human representatives were present, a man in a dark suit and a woman with sharp eyes. Neither spoke. Supreme Speaker barked. "Impossible. Humans have no Aether technology." And yet, Varen replied, "The signal carries a human encryption key. It is theirs." A low murmur spread through the room. Words like impossible, madness, and suicide echoed between the crystal walls. The Marin delegate flicked his fins nervously. "Perhaps it is a trap. Another race using their signal." "We have confirmed the origin," Varen said firmly. "It came from a human vessel, deep inside the Aether's outer storms. Duration of transmission, 12 seconds. A shiver ran through the assembly. 12 seconds was an eternity in the Aether. Most ships were ripped apart within 3. The insectoid ambassador clicked her mandibles. If they can survive there, even for moments, they could move across the galaxy unseen. Alien narrowed his eyes. "Strike anywhere before we can respond." The Supreme Speaker raised a hand. "Find out what they are doing in there." Across the galaxy, in a dark command chamber aboard the Assembly's intelligence flagship, A group of alien officers worked furiously. Holographic star maps rotated. A swirling, storm-like cloud marked the edge of the ether. Inside, faint traces of the human ship's path flickered and vanished. It was like chasing a shadow in a hurricane. Every time they locked onto the signal, it moved. Deeper. One officer whispered, "They are not drifting. They are navigating." Another replied, "No, they can't be. No one can steer inside the ether," yet the data suggested otherwise. The human ship wasn't breaking apart. It wasn't slowing. It was moving with purpose. Back in the Grand Hall, the human representatives finally spoke. The woman's voice was calm, almost amused. "You laugh at our power," she said, "but perhaps you never understood where our real strength lies." The Supreme Speaker's gaze hardened. "Explain." She only smiled. "No, you'll see soon enough." Hours later, the alien intelligence team caught a final glimpse of the human ship before it vanished entirely into the ether's shifting glow. No wreckage, no distress calls, just gone. The last reading showed its trajectory. It was heading toward the core of the ether, a place no ship had ever reached. And somewhere, far beyond the reach of normal space, the human crew looked out through their viewports at an endless ocean of swirling light. They weren't afraid. They were here for a reason, and soon, the rest of the galaxy would know why. To be continued. The news spread through the Galactic Assembly like fire in dry grass. Humans had sent a signal into the ether. Impossible. At least that's what every species believed until last night. The ether was not normal space. It was a dangerous realm between realities, a place where ships vanished and minds shattered. Even the most advanced races only touched it carefully, using heavily shielded probes. But the humans? They didn't even have fleets capable of crossing half the galaxy. The idea that they had entered the ether, it was absurd. High above the capital world of Vornis, in the tall spire of the Galactic Intelligence Directorate, Commander Tuvok stood by the window, watching the clouds swirl far below. His eyes, 4 of them, set in a rigid, scaled face, were fixed on the distant stars. "They are not ready for this," he growled. Behind him, Officer Relka tapped at a glowing console. "Commander, I've run the scans 3 times. The signal's origin point is undeniably Sol system." Tuvok turned, his jaw tightening. A trick, perhaps. Could another race be faking their location? Relka hesitated. Possible, but the signal itself is human. They're linguistic. Patterns. They're crude yet precise encryption. It's them. Tuvok walked closer, scanning the data. The signal carried something strange, a resonance in the ether few had seen before. It was steady, unafraid. Most races who touched the ether broadcast in quick bursts, fearful of staying too long. But the humans' transmission, it was continuous, as if they were not afraid at all. In the Galactic Assembly Chamber, the news had turned the earlier laughter into hushed whispers. The towering Zorlith delegates hissed quietly to each other. The sleek and elegant Vayari spoke in low, worried tones. The insectoid Zecora clicked their mandibles nervously. It wasn't fear of humans themselves. No one believed humans were a threat. It was fear of what they had found. Across the galaxy, in a hidden orbital station cloaked in deep shadows, the Clear Syndicate gathered. These were not politicians. These were warlords and smugglers, thieves and assassins, and they had no love for humans. But they did have an eye for profit. If humans have found a way into the ether, one of the masked figures said, "We will take it from them." Another leaned forward. "Or kill them before they learn how to use it." The room fell silent at that suggestion. Everyone knew the ether was not just dangerous, it was powerful. A weapon forged from it could change the balance of the galaxy, and the idea of humans holding that kind of power? Unthinkable. Meanwhile, far from these political games, on the human colony world of EOS 3, Captain Myra Vega stood inside a small, reinforced chamber. Before her was the Aether interface, a strange device built from human engineering and something else. The interface pulsed softly like a heartbeat. "You're sure the signal reached them?" she asked. The technician beside her nodded. "Oh, they heard it, Captain. Every major species in the galaxy is probably panicking right now. Mira smiled faintly. Good, let them. She placed her hand on the device. For a moment, she felt a pull. The sensation of standing on the edge of a storm where the wind could sweep you away into another world. The ether was alive. She could feel it. It wanted to be used. Back in the assembly, the VR Chancellor finally spoke aloud. This cannot be allowed to continue. Humanity must be contained. A booming voice from the insectoid Zecora delegation replied, contained. The ether is not for mortals to control. We must destroy their work before it spreads. Only the Zoroleth remained silent until one of their generals leaned forward and spoke in. A voice like CRA. 3 alien ships slipped out of hyperspace near the Sol system. They were not here for diplomacy. Each vessel belonged to a different species, but all had the same mission: intercept humanity's ether experiments, seize whatever technology they had, and make sure no human ever reached further inside. The lead ship was commanded by Captain Jorak of the VRE, sleek, cold, and patient. Jorak had spent decades hunting pirates along the rimworlds. This mission, however, was different. It was not about justice. It was about fear. Human colonies are lightly defended, Jorak said over the encrypted channel. We strike fast, capture their device, and erase all records. No survivors. From the insectoid ship, Commander Kleekta hissed in reply. Agreed. They are young in the stars. They will not understand what they have touched until it is too late. We will prevent that by force. The third voice belonged to General Trosses of the Zoroleth, whose deep tone shook the channel. Do not underestimate them. Even prey can wound the hunter. Meanwhile, on EOS 3, Captain Myra Vega didn't need spy satellites to know she was being hunted. Her colony had gone quiet. To quiet. No traffic in or out. No messages on the public bands. They're jamming us, her comms officer muttered. Mira nodded. Which means they're close. The ether interface in the chamber behind her pulsed faster now, almost like it could sense the danger. The alien ships entered orbit, their stealth fields flickering like ripples in water. They expected to find humans scrambling to defend themselves. Instead, the colony lights flickered and died. A cold darkness covered the settlement. Jorak frowned. Why are they powering down? Have they abandoned the colony? Kleekta scanned the surface. Negative. Life signs remain. Hundreds of them. Hiding. General Trosses grunted. This is a trap. The first strike came without warning. A railgun round tore through the Vieri ship's shielding, leaving a molten scar across its hull. Jorak snarled. Impossible. They do not have that kind of targeting speed. Another shot hit Kleekta's vessel, knocking it into a slow spin. From the shadows of the colony's lower levels, human artillery crews cheered and reloaded. In the command chamber, Mira stood over the interface. They're in position. Her second-in-command nodded. All batteries ready. Good, Mira said. Keep them busy. I need more time. The technician beside the interface looked pale. Captain, if you go any deeper into the ether now, I know the risks, Mira interrupted. They'll be dead in minutes unless we use it. She placed both hands on the interface. The heartbeat-like pulse grew louder in her mind. Above the planet, the battle raged. The alien ships, more advanced than anything humanity had, should have crushed the colony defenses in seconds. But something was wrong. Their targeting systems glitched. Their navigation feeds stuttered. Strange bursts of static flooded there. Sensor static that almost sounded like voices. Kleekta's mandibles clicked nervously. Do you hear that? In the comms? General Trosses growled. It is interference. Ignore it. But deep in their ship systems, the ether was already seeping in. On the surface, Mira felt her mind slipping into that same strange place, a dark ocean where no stars shone, and yet she was not alone. Ships moved there, vast and slow, watching her. A voice echoed inside her skull. You call to us? Mira's throat went dry. I need your help, or power. The voice rumbled. Both, she whispered. The sky above EOS 3 split, with a sound no human ear had ever heard before, a tearing howl that rattled the alien ships. Something emerged, not from normal space, not from hyperspace, but from between. It was massive, its form shifting like smoke and water, impossible to fully see. The alien captains froze as their crews screamed in confusion. Clicked hissed in terror. That is an ether entity. It will devour us all. Creature didn't strike them. It wrapped itself around the colony like a shield. The human railguns fired again from within its cover, shredding the Viari vessel's engines. General Trosses slammed his fist into the console. Retreat. Retreat now. But it was too late for one of them. Click's ship was pulled toward, the shifting mass vanishing inside without so much as a spark. No explosion. Just gone. Jorek's surviving crew fought to break away, but the static grew louder, turning into whispers. Some crew members simply froze in place, their eyes vacant, as if they were listening to something far away. Mira opened her eyes. The ether interface dimmed, its pulse slowing again. The alien ships were fleeing. The colony was safe for now, but in the back of her mind, the voice spoke again. We have answered you once, we will answer again. But every call has a price. Mira didn't reply. She knew. And she also knew the galaxy would not let this go. End of Part 3. Hook. Far away. In the halls of the Galactic Assembly, Tuvok listened to the survivor reports. None of them could explain what they had seen. But one phrase kept repeating. The humans are not alone in there. Into the ether the human ship Dauntless floated before the shimmering rift. No one in the galaxy had crossed this boundary and returned alive. The ether was not space, not a dimension, but something in between, a place where time bent, and reality twisted. For centuries, alien records spoke of lost fleets that entered the ether and never came back. Most believed it was a myth. Others whispered that something inside hunted anything foolish enough to enter. Inside the Dauntless, Captain Elias watched the swirling lights through the viewport. It looked like a living storm, threads of gold, silver and deep purple moving like serpents. Captain, said Lieutenant Aaron, the alien ships are holding position. They're watching us. On the scanners, a dozen alien warships sat just beyond weapons range. They were here too. See if humans really dared to do what no one else could. Some probably expected to watch the Dauntless vanish forever. Elias gave a thin smile. Let them watch. The ship's crew felt the tension. No one spoke above a whisper. It was as if the ether itself was listening. Entering in 60 seconds, the helmsman announced. The ship vibrated lightly. Strange, unreadable signals poured through the comms. Whispers in languages no human knew. Lights flickered. For a moment, Elias thought he saw a shape moving inside the swirling energy. Something with many eyes. The alien observers on the other side were recording everything. The Galactic Assembly's secret communication channels, leaders debated. This is suicide.
No species can enter the ether without being torn apart.
If the humans succeed. Silence followed that thought. The countdown reached 10 seconds. The crew's hands were steady, but their hearts raced. The final second came. The Dauntless surged forward. The rift swallowed the ship whole. For a heartbeat, there was only darkness. Then nothing familiar. No stars. No up or down. Only glowing rivers of energy stretching forever. Drifting islands. Of rock floating in the void and things that moved without shape. The crew's breathing sounded too loud in the quiet. The ship's shields flickered under invisible pressure. Report, Elias said, voice firm. All systems. Holding Aaron replied, almost shocked. Captain, we're alive. Something else was alive too. A shadow glided past the viewport. Not a ship. Not an asteroid. It was as if the ether itself had turned to look at them. On the alien ships outside the rift, alarms blared. Their sensors picked up something impossible, a steady signal from the Dauntless deep inside the ether. No species had ever sent a signal back from there. And then, the humans sent a message. We are not lost. The galaxy would never laugh at them the same way again. The Dauntless drifted deeper into the ether. There was no straight path here, only shifting corridors of light and shadow. The ship's navigation system spun with strange readings. Distances changed without warning, and time on the clocks ticked unevenly. Captain Elias kept his eyes on the main display. Something was following them. At first it was just a flicker, a shadow that moved too quickly to be part of the glowing rivers around them. Then came the sound. Not through the speakers, not through the ship's systems, but inside their heads. A low hum, almost like a deep breath. "Helm," Elias said quietly. "Speed up." The Dauntless glided faster, its engines leaving a faint blue trail. The shadow followed. Lieutenant Aaron swallowed hard. "Captain, whatever that is, it's matching our speed." On the alien warships outside the rift, commanders stared at the readings in disbelief. "They're still alive? How is that possible?" Then they noticed the second signal, something far larger than the human ship, moving alongside it in the ether. "What is that thing?" Inside the Dauntless, the hum grew louder. It shifted into something that almost sounded like words, but no language they knew. "Engineering report," Elias barked. Chief Engineer Rana's voice came through. "Engines are fine, but Captain, our energy output is being drained. Something is pulling power from us." Ilias's jaw tightened. The crew's faces were pale. Some looked toward the dark corners of the bridge as if expecting something to step through. The scanners finally caught a clear image. It was enormous, a shape like a serpent made of shadow and light, scales shimmering with 1,000 tiny stars. Its eyes burned gold, and when it opened its mouth, the light inside was blinding. "It's alive," Aaron whispered. Elias nodded slowly, "and it's been here a very, very long time." The alien fleets outside argued over the comes. If the humans survive this, they will own the ether. They won't. Nothing survives that guardian. Inside, the serpent circled the Dauntless like a predator studying strange prey. Then, to everyone's shock, it stopped and simply floated in front of them. Elias understood the message without words. It wasn't attacking yet. It was waiting. The captain stood. "All stations, prepare for contact." The ether was about to decide if humanity lived or died. The message from the ether, the serpent hung in the ether, massive and still. The Dauntless floated before it like a speck of dust. No one moved, no one spoke. Every crew member felt the weight of something ancient staring into their very souls. Captain Elias didn't blink. He had the strange feeling that if he looked away, it would be the last thing he ever saw. Then the voice came. Not through speakers, not in the air, but in their minds. Deep, resonant. Like the sound of 1,000 years compressed into a single word. Human. The bridge crew froze. Some gripped their chairs. Others shivered as if the air had turned cold. He entered the ether uninvited. Yet unafraid, Elias straightened his posture. "We come in peace. We seek only to travel." The golden eyes narrowed. Travel. Conquer. The crew's heartbeats pounded in their ears. Outside the rift, alien fleets listened in horror. As the humans' open channel broadcast the voice, the guardians of the ether had not spoken to any race for centuries. Elias took a breath. "We conquer only fear." A long silence followed. The serpent moved closer until its head filled the viewport. The galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Finally, the voice came again. "Then you may pass, and you may speak." A blinding wave of light erupted from the serpent's form, flooding the Dauntless. The ship's sensors recorded impossible amounts of data, star maps, energy flows, coordinates to places no species had ever reached. When the light faded, the serpent was gone. Only the ether's shifting rivers remained. On the bridge, the crew stared at the new data. They could now cross the galaxy in days. They could reach systems even the oldest empires had never seen. The alien fleets outside fell silent. They knew what this meant. The humans had been given a gift no one else possessed, the blessing of the ether itself. In the Galactic Assembly, days later, the same leaders who had mocked Earth now sat in uneasy silence. The human delegation walked in, calm and steady. And above the assembly chamber's massive display screen, a single line of text appeared, Broadcast from the Dauntless. The Aether has spoken. Humanity may pass. For the first time in history, no one laughed at humans again.